Mr. Hur described President Biden as an elderly man with a poor memory who could not remember when he was vice president or the year his son Beau died.
I think anybody sitting down for an interview like that where you're being asked specific dates over and over again, you're not going to remember every single one.
In early June 2024, a Wall Street Journal story exposed concerns from members of Congress about a diminishing president.
There's been a relentless focus in some news outlets on minor slips by our president that I frankly think are typical of anyone who's keeping a demanding 14-hour-a-day schedule.
A coordinated message claimed conservative media was deceptively editing clips.
In major areas where people get their news, this lie or this concept about Joe Biden is being validated.
Fake videos of President Biden that are being referred to as cheap fakes.
They're cheap. They're just distorted, out of context videos, chopped up in certain ways, constructed in certain ways.
He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been.
The right wing in general saw, that independent media saw and reported on, and that was no mystery even to left wing and so-called mainstream reporters who were not fooled, but chose willful blindness instead of honest reporting, and that you were part of it. How do you respond?
And look, knowing what I know now, obviously, I feel tremendous humility about my coverage, that Laura Trump interview, for example, et cetera.
We'll
she saw something that I did not see at the time, 100%. And I own that. I did ask Joe Biden to be transparent about his health records in an interview in 2020. I did ask him about the fact that voters
But then he wasn't.
thought that he was not transparent at all. No.
He promised you that
no.
he would be transparent about his health records, and then he wasn't. And when you sat with him again,
at all.
including 1 month after the Jackie Walorski thing, you didn't ask him about it. You didn't follow up on the fact that he was falling up the stairs, that he was losing his train of thought regularly, that he was slurring, that he was incomprehensible, that he was getting lost on the White House lawn. You sat right across from him and you asked none of that, notwithstanding the fact that he had promised you he would be fully transparent about his health issues.
That's true, but I did ask him about his age and the fact that the American people had concluded that even though he said whenever anybody brought up the subject of his age, watch me, and I said,
yes,
they're watching you and they are concerned that you were too old for this job.
You know as well as I do that there's a way of, you can say, hey, there's this poll on your age, or you could say, you just forgot that Jackie Walorski was dead. You asked where she was